I pledge my head to clear thinking,
my heart to greater loyalty,
my hands to a larger service,
my health to better living,
for my club, my community, my country, and my world.
Good morning, everybody. This is Jason Brown with Boone County 4-H. Just coming to you with a quick advertising video. Normally, if we were in the classroom, I would just tell you about some of these wonderful programs that we have. But since we're social distancing, we're trying to get you this information this way so that you'll still know what 4-H can offer and the programs that you can be involved in. In the first video, you saw the 4-H pledge, and we wanted to make sure you got a chance to see that because we're not in the classroom, we're not seeing that, and if we were in the classroom, you'd do the pledge every time we met. But since we're not, I wanted you to see the pledge right there up front as we talk about what is 4-H and what can 4-H do for you. Now, still talking about the pledge, one of our focuses in 4-H is to remind the students and the participants that there are 4 areas of your life that if you'll focus on to make them the very best that you can, that you will make yourself a better person and your community and the world around you a better place to be. And so the pledge and the focus on head, heart, hands, and health is there to help remind you and remind us as well as adults that we have an obligation to be the very best that we can. So let's talk a little bit of 4-H history here. If you didn't know, late 1900s would be the early days. So you're talking like the 1890s in that time frame. And at that time, there were a lot of new innovations that were coming along in the area of agriculture. So farming of crops, livestock, those kind of things. There were some new inventions like tractors and plows and things like that that were happening. And a lot of what Extension Service did with 4-H in the early days was to educate young agriculturalists about some of these new ways to farm that would help produce better crops, better livestock, make the land last longer, so environmental activities were a part of that as well. Adding to that was a focus on what was primarily the women's job, or sort of their focus at that time, being homemakers. You know, at that time, homemakers were mostly women, and they stayed at home and took care of the children in the home front while the men went out and worked. Very different from us today, but it was important for those homemakers to be educated on how to create better clothing, better food preparation, things like that for their family. Now, the first 4-H program starts in 1902. A.B. Graham, you see him pictured there, creates one of the first programs in Clark County, Ohio. And it's also considered the birth of 4-H in the United States. The first club was called a corn growing club, and so the very first club had that focus. Boone County 4-H. Now, we're dedicated to carrying on the traditions of 4-H by educating youth in a multitude of diverse areas. Now, today isn't just about, for 4-H, it isn't just about agriculture, but focuses on science, environment, exercise, building skills, life skills, and so much more. And so what used to be agriculture is now focused on so many different areas that can improve and help you as a person. So let's talk about some of the things Boone County 4-H does. We go to 4-H camp. It's probably the biggest thing we do in the summer as far as participants, and the excitement level is to go to camp for a week with us, spend the night, have fun with your friends. We do a lot of exercise-based activities that are fun, like you see them doing some kayaking there. You see the wall, the climbing wall we have there, which is a lot of fun, very popular. A lot of the students really love that. We also like to swim a lot. Hey, great exercise, but also camp is hot. So adults and students alike love to go swimming in the summer at camp just to cool off. And again, like I said, great time to get some exercise. We do a lot of summer projects, and so this is a project I did with students this last year. These are what today we call lemon peel baseballs, and they are essentially a replica of the baseballs that they would have used in the 1860s. Very different from our balls today, and the students always have fun taking on that project, learning a little bit about the history. We do a lot of woodworking projects, as you see here. You know, a good skill to have is to have basic skills on how to use a drill, a hammer, things like that. One day you might own a house, and those kind of skills could come in handy. We also have our panoramas here, or crankies as they're called. Back before television or moving film, a lot of panoramas existed in the sense that you would have this like wooden box and you'd have a scroll story on the box and you'd turn it, and of course it would scroll, and as it passed you could tell the story, and kind of like a very slow moving television show, so to speak. Cooking classes, very popular. 4-H clubs. We have a lot of clubs. This one pictures the dog club and the guinea pig club. We have the cat club. We have the shooting sports clubs. We have all kinds of wonderful clubs that would be something that you would be interested in being involved in. 4-H horse show, you see that? We did that this last summer. It's very popular. We still do livestock programming. So there is an agricultural focus even now, and a lot of people are involved in that, and you could potentially be involved in that as well. More pictures there of that. Every fall, getting close to the 1st of August, when we have the fair, our 4-H students come in and bring the projects they've worked on all summer and throughout the year, and they can enter those into the fair, and then we'll judge those. Some of those projects will even go on to the state fair. Now, I know we haven't had a county or a state fair this year, but typically, and hopefully next year, we will be having a county and a state fair for you to enter your projects. We did have some projects entered this year. Boone County did their own kind of little 4-H entry, and you can see the judging there for those. Really some great entries that were put in the little program we did. Each month, you will receive a link to an electronic newsletter. I'll send that out to the teacher, so when they pass information on to you, they can send that to you. Now, if you don't get the link, go to our site and see the current newsletter, and that's the link to do that. I will put that link in the show descriptions at the bottom for you to grab and look at and show your parents. Our newsletter is the best way to keep up with enrollment deadlines, dates, information for 4-H camp, okay? And so you really want to pay attention to the newsletter. It's going to be harder this year since it's not a physical copy, but if you can, remember to look at that. 4-H enrollment is free. Now, I will say there are some programs that have small fees to participate, but 90% of our programming here at 4-H is free. The first and best way to begin your 4-H experience is to enroll, okay? I will put this link in the show notes at the bottom here in the description area. You can grab that, show that to your parents. Now, even if you're not currently interested in 4-H programming, enroll anyway. It's free, so why not do it? You're not out anything. About the worst that'll happen if you enroll is you'll start to get the newsletter in the mail, which can only help you because it's going to be easier communication than remembering to go to that link. Also, certain programs in 4-H have deadlines. So if you want to do something, enroll now so you don't have to hassle with remembering that there's a deadline to meet or the disappointment of wanting to do a program but realizing you didn't enroll and now the deadline has passed. And so you want to make sure that you enroll. All right, Jason Brown, Boone County 4-H Program Assistant. You can email me, have your parents email me, or call the office if you have questions. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about our 4-H programming and all the wonderful things that we do.